The following video was recorded on stolen Aboriginal land.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this CEDAH Special General Meeting. We are recording the session for two reasons. One is some of our members are not able to be here today, like Christy, for instance, our chairperson, is unwell, and so this will be an opportunity that she can actually have a look at a later date of this historical thing that's going to happen in the not too distant future. If you don't want to be recorded, I'd encourage you to move out so that and put yourself in a position, and you can see by the screen there what Jared would call what's in shot and what's out of shot, because he'll be the man that'll be doing all the editing. I'm assuming that either Shaylee or Caitlin are taking notes.
I'm taking minutes.
Fantastic. Do we have any apologies from anybody who knows besides Christy?
Well, Christy should be soon. Cedar, Whelan, and Leah as well. Our apologies.
Right, and there was also
Just those names, please, Douglas.
Cedar and Lee, and also there was I put an email on your desk as well. Someone sent an email in. I think it was George. I think it was. I'd have to go and have a look.
Thank you.
Andrew, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you if you do acknowledgement of country.
Thank you, Douglas. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Andrew Voddick. I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at CEDAH, and I would just like to acknowledge on behalf of all of us here today that we are on Awabakal land, and I pay respects to elders past and present and to emerging leaders, and to acknowledge that this land was and always will be Aboriginal land and was never ceded. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andrew. I think I forgot to introduce myself, but my name's Douglas Holmes. The reason I've got the microphone or the talking stick is I was asked a couple of years ago to be the chairperson of the working group that was actually looking at reviewing our constitution. And the purpose of the meeting today is to formally put forward a motion to actually accept the Constitution, and I'd like to just spend a little bit of time just going through the processes that we actually have gone to do that. And you'll see on the whiteboard there's an agenda, and we'll actually be doing what we call it CEDAH as catch up, where everybody will have the opportunity to introduce themselves. You have 2 to 3 minutes maximum. Andrew's got the gong and he says it's 1 minute, But we're very democratic at CEDAH, and we're also a bit rebellious, because if you tell me I've only got a minute, you can be sure that I'm going to do 90 seconds,
Everyone else gets a minute.
Yeah. In 2017, I was actually working at St Vincent's Hospital, and I actually heard about CEDAH, and I came up and I actually became a member, filled the form in and became a member, and started coming to a group called The Hive. In 2021, I actually became a board member for my sins, and we became aware that we needed to update our constitution. There was some discussion amongst the current board members whether or not which copy of the constitution we were actually working off. And I put my hand up to actually follow that through, and we wrote off to Department of Fair Trading, and they actually sent back and said the document that you actually have on the ACNC's website is your current constitution. And what had happened, there'd been a special general meeting like this held in 2015 where people had actually made some original changes. And what I'm showing you here, this is a document on CEDA's website about the processes that people went through to actually form this organisation. I don't know how many people have had the opportunity to read it, but it's a really interesting read. And as part of that, one of the aims of the organisation when they started was for CEDA to become a peer-led organisation. And so part of the recording for what we're doing today is to actually demonstrate to those people who can't be here that dream that they had back in 2013 has actually turned into a reality. And what's interesting, I can actually read some of the names of the people that were actually at that original meeting. Barbara Mennell, Carolyn Daly, Kate Weir. Kate's actually works here now. Christine Morris, Ethics Community Council of Newcastle, Family Advocacy, Fiona Nash, Frank Peterson, Futures Up Front, Heidi Forrest, Jane Bidenow, Jenny Cush, Christy Traversi, and Christy's our chairperson, Lauren Hislop, Matrix on board, Melanie Slinger. Melanie works here as well. Yep. Mind the Gap, Physical Disabilities Council, Ron Prince, Scott Taylor, Stephen Howell, that name's familiar. He's actually on the screen over there. The Place, Charlestown, Vivian Lindsay, Wendy Dickinson and Zelda Story. So I'd just like to acknowledge that little bit of historical information. What we then went on to do, once we got the information back from the Department of Fair Trading, we formed a working group. And I got the responsibility to be chairperson of that. And if anybody'd like to see what the working group did, I've got records of it here. I don't know how much people actually like looking at documents, but it's all in here, including the letter from the Department of Fair Trading. What was really interesting, that we were actually nearly ready to go last year to actually present the work that we'd actually done in the previous 15 odd months. And then someone discovered that the Department of Fair Trading had introduced new legislation into Parliament where all current NGOs needed to update their model rules. And what that means is that's the governing document you call your constitution. And so what happened was that flattened us a little bit because we'd done all this work and we actually knew how much extra work would be needed to be done. What we were thankful for, that we found the resources to employ Colleen. What's Colleen's last name, Andrew? Yeah.
Sorry.
She actually took all the work we'd done and the copy with the new model rules that actually highlighted the changes. And the working group actually worked through that, and I'm happy to show you that work. That's another document that, you know, if you like reading 30-page documents, that's like a nice one to have. And we also held 2 members' workshops, and one of those was actually recorded. And so where we're at is we're now at a point where we actually have a document, like a document that we're hoping that what will happen is we'll put a motion after we actually give everybody the opportunity to introduce themselves. And we'll be actually asking for 75% of the members that are here present to actually endorse that we actually can use that document as our new model rules. If we can't get 75% of the current members that are here, it means that we'll need to take it away and do some more work. And so what we'll be doing is I'm going to hand the microphone to Billy, or the talking stick to Billy. Let Billy introduce herself. And just before I do that, and if people have questions, I'm going to ask someone if they would actually put the questions up on the whiteboard, and once we've gone around the room, we'll actually address your questions. And it's okay if someone says, oh, I've got the same question as Billy had, that's really good, right?
Hello, my name's Billy. This is my sign name. I'm a board member of CHAH, and it's nice to meet you all. Thanks so much for being here, being part of it all.
Any questions?
What sort of question, Douglas? What might I ask?
Yeah, I missed something.
You don't have to ask a question.
No.
Well, that's actually a brilliant question, Billy, because the questions do you have any questions about this document that we're about to actually ask you to agree on, that's going to actually take us through the next 5 to 8 years of how we operate? And possibly the reason you don't have any questions because you're well and truly understanding of the processes we've been through, but there may be other people that aren't as quite as up to date with you. The reason we have 2 documents, this one, 27 pages long, it's in Arial 12-point font, right? This one, in my left hand, is 74 pages long, and it's 24-point Arial. Right? We're happy to send copies of these out to people so they can actually have a look through them. But this is what the questions are around. What's in these documents?
Looks like a manual, that 74-page document, Douglas.
That's mine.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the coordinators for Speak Up Hana and also do community connections.
Thank you.
I know questions. So I have
No, I'll take that as given.
Hi everyone, my name is Jared. I am the Communications and Pathways lead, and it's wonderful to be here.
I'm Julie, and with Community Connections. Deafblind Connect every fortnight.
Hi, my name is Stuart McLennan. I guess I'm probably the oldest person in the room. And I've got one question, that is, we're voting on something that I wonder how many people have actually read the document.
Did you write that up on the board?
Thank you, will do. Thank you, Stuart. Just hand that to you.
Hello, my name is Owen Petty, and I am the co-facilitator of Queer Peers in CEDAH, and it's very lovely to meet you all. See you all again.
Thanks, Owen. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Naomi, and I've been here at CEDAH for a year now, and I co-facilitate the Women's First, and I'm a part of the Hive peer group as well. Great to see everyone.
Hello, I'm Veronica. I'm from JobLink Plus, and I've only just joined this year. So thank you. Hi, Veronica.
Hello, I'm Shaylee. I am the event coordinator for CEDAH.
Hi everyone, I'm Tanya. I'm a peer mentor and facilitator here at CEDAH.
How long have you been here?
Long time. Since I was way back when in the little room, grown into a big room now. Been here a while.
A different building.
Different building, yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Tanya. Stephen.
Hello, my name's Stephen and I'm new here.
Welcome, Stephen.
Yeah.
Renee, I'm part of Erin's support team.
Hey, I'm Erin. I'm the vice president on the board, but that maintains after tonight. I'm also the coordinator of Speak Up Hunter.
And?
And I did split into...
I'm Enya. I am a board member here at CEDAH, and I am a new co-facilitator for the new youth group. And this is my little Reggie.
G'day, Sarah and Deb, Auslan interpreters for the meeting today.
Dave as well. Just like to acknowledge our interpreters too while we're here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Dave Belcher. I'm the Strategic and Community Relations Lead here at CEDAH. Thank you.
Do we have people on Zoom?
Andrew, can I say something?
Yes.
Hang on, Sarah.
Caroline. Caroline.
Oh, Caroline.
Sorry.
In the way of your camera too.
I'm off camera. Yes, Cataline here, office manager. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Caroline. Good job, Sarah. So who do we have on Zoom?
I'm Stephen Hallinan. I'm a foundation member of CEDAH and currently on the board.
I'm happy to go next. I'm Susie, been with CEDAH 7-8 years. I am peer group coordinator, a mentor, and also co-facilitate the Women First peer group.
Lee Crichton.
Yes. Hi, my name is Lee, and I'm a founding member of CEDAH from in the early years.
Lee.
I've got Lee, it's Sam.
Sorry, Sam. Sorry, well, it's got Lee on the name, but.
Oh, sorry guys, I didn't realise I hadn't changed it. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm Sam. I work at Hunter Workers, and I've only recently joined CEDAH as a member. So I do know a lot of you from when you used to be in the building down here.
You're obviously talking about the Hunter Workers Centre down in. I say you're obviously talking about when we were down in the Hunter Workers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many fond memories from when we were on level 1, and then we moved upstairs to level 3.
Well, yeah, CEDAH has been in the Hunter Workers building longer than I have.
Yeah.
So we do miss you guys.
Thank you. And there's one other person there I can see, but I can't actually see the name.
That's you.
Douglas, it's Chris Morris, and I'm an associate member, and I've been hovering around since the beginning of CEDAH. So I'm not voting, I'm an associate member.
The reason I had trouble identifying you, Chris, is you've got this beautiful halo that's from behind you.
Oh, sorry, David, I'll try and read myself. Is that better?
That is better, yes.
There you go.
So this is fantastic. Here we are, 19 minutes into a special general meeting. A process that we've actually taken nearly 3 years to actually get to a point, and we only had one question from the floor. And that was, how many people have read the document? Now, that's a really interesting, and if you'd like me to give you an accurate number, unfortunately I can't do that, right? But what I can do is I can tell you how many people have actually opened it from the 145 members that we currently have actually opened the document. I can also tell you how many times they've opened it more than once, because we have that ability in MailChimp to actually understand those things. And there's been quite a substantial number of those 145 members. But you then go to, over the last 3 years, through MailChimp, we started off with some 1,200 people on our mailing list. And it currently costs us $65 a month to actually have access to that many people on MailChimp. Through the process of actually sending out regular monthly updates, more than 51% of that 1,200 have actually opened information about the changes we're actually going through and that was done monthly. That list now has actually been whittled down to 565. And when we send something out from CEDAH, we will often get around a 62% open rate. There's also, because we have put the documents in where people have got to click to go in and open, I could go in and give you how many people have actually opened the documents. I can't guarantee that people have actually read them. But the fact that we haven't got a whole lot of people here today up in arms about the fact that we are changing the Constitution would suggest to me that people are happy with the process we've gone through in actually letting people know the opportunities they've actually had to have comment into the document. Does that answer your question, Stuart, or would you like more?
No, I just thought it was important that was recorded that this was the case, that it actually had been widely promulgated and thought about. I just thought it was giving for being the kind of the person who asked the difficult questions, but I asked them for a reason. The reason being, I think it needs to be recorded. That was the case, and that's exactly what you've done, David. Thank you for that. Yes, and because of some of the privacy concerns, I could take you into MailChimp and actually show you some of the reports. I would need to be careful that I don't go in there or actually identify who are the people who are actually, because we're under the Privacy Act and a whole range of stuff, we've got to be very mindful around how we actually share that information. But I can show you, if someone wanted to have a look, I'd be more than happy to actually sit down and show you those reports and how we've actually got to those numbers. Because one of the things we were talking about it earlier is, I'm a little bit like a snake oil salesman that used to be going around the shows convincing people that my jar of snake oil was the best. And if you come along with me, you'll get all sorts of whiz-gig benefits, right? So thanks very much for answering that question. And so this could actually lead us to an early mark.
because what we now need to do is look at motion 1, and we'll need someone to move this to accept the tabled document. Unfortunately, we haven't got a table, but this is a symbolic, tabling the document. Known as the CEDA Constitution, to bring CEDA up to date with current legislation. And so for the record, I'd just like, would someone like to actually move that? Erin's moved it, good. Do we have a seconder? That's fabulous.
Who's that?
That's Sarah. Now we're getting down to the serious part of the business, because this is an opportunity where you can actually either move to accept it as it is, or you can put forward an amendment. We've got our esteemed member here, David Belcher, who's well versed in parliamentary processes around moving motions, but I'm just going to simply ask people here in the room, is there anybody that's going to vote against the motion that'd like to raise their hand or speak? Andrew, you want to speak?
Yeah,
yes?
I want to speak, yeah. Thank you, Douglas. It's Andrew speaking. The only thing I really wanted to just reinforce, and I really thank you for your question, Stuart, because I think it's a very important one, to make it very clear that the processes have been well thought out and put in place to ensure that members have every opportunity to read the amended version of the Constitution and to look at the actual changes that are looking to be made. The only thing I really want to add, not to the proposal, but just to reinforce behind the proposal, is that one of the key elements of the proposal is that we are moving towards being a truly peer-led organisation. And for an organisation like CEDA, any disabled persons organisation to be genuinely, truly peer-led is a historic and really exciting achievement. And I think that there's a lot of gravity in that position, and to be thinking about what you are voting for, however you vote, but what you are voting for is quite a monumentous moment in the 10-year history of CEDA to this point. And when you look at the names of the people that were there at the beginning of CEDA, and looking at how many of those people are still here and still holding true to what CEDA stood for 10 years ago and what its vision was and still is, and to see this moment as it comes through, don't take it lightly. It's actually quite a important and historic moment. And once again, thank you to Douglas for all the work you've done into this in particular.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. So for a second time, is there anybody that would like to speak against the motion? If that being the case, I'd like everybody that wants to pass the motion to raise a hand, and for our person who's recording the minutes, just to record the number of hands that went up. So if for those of people who would like to pass the motion, if you could just raise your hand. Yeah.
What is it? Is that Canberra House or is that here?
Just here.
It's just here. Yep.
Is that 40?
Yep.
Oh, no, I don't get the thing on the Zoom.
Oh, sorry. Everybody on the Zoom? Yeah, beautiful. 15, 16, 17.
Okay. Well, that motion is...
Before we do, just need to clarify for Stephen who's not sure exactly what's happening.
Right.
And just make that clear. Okay, Stephen. So, Stephen, what we're really...
No, you're right, I think
the most important... Sorry. So the reason that everybody is here, CEDAH, the organisation that you've just joined, is a member organisation, and so every organisation has what's called a constitution, and as you just said about Australia's constitution, well, every organisation in New South Wales, it's an association, which is what we are, has a constitution, which is our binding laws and the rules for how our organisation operates, basically. So what we're voting for is some changes which are about changing the legislation, changing to stay in line with what the laws are, the state laws that we have to change with, and also for CEDAH to change from being an organisation for people with disability and family and supporters to being an organisation that is, to be a member, you have to be a person with a disability. So that's basically the changes.
Yeah, I'm a person with a disability, so...
Yeah. So is that clear for you?
Yep. I'm
Excellent.
a person with a disability, so I'm in.
Okay. Yay.
Yeah.
So that's a yes, is it?
I vote for the rights of people with disabilities.
Excellent. Thank you, Stephen.
In the past, I haven't had any.
Well, you've come to the right place.
You have. You have.
Sarah, can I just clarify Susie speaking?
Douglas is speaking now, but a moment ago, Stephen and Andrew was explaining to Stephen, it is Stephen, isn't it?
Yeah.
People often say to me, what's your disability? And I just say Douglas Holmes, but amongst other things, in 1992 I got diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder. But in 1976, I actually had a pretty horrific truck accident where I had 20.6% frontal lobe damage. And unfortunately, 20.6% frontal lobe damage wasn't enough to get onto a disability pension, right? But with that and my bipolar, I actually got what's called a disability support pension card, right? And that's what allows me to be here and be amongst people that understand some of the things. Like at times I struggle with people's names.
So do I.
Yep. Right.
But what's your clarification, Susie?
Sorry, I should have asked before, but I'm not sure if I was able to vote as I'm not a full member.
Sorry, gentlemen.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, right. Douglas.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
I just don't know if I was counted in that.
No, I didn't know you.
No, you're right, Susie. Unfortunately, you have been a member for a long time, but part of being a member and of CEDAH is that you actually do need to live in the Hunter.
Yeah.
It's covered by 7 LGAs. But of course, we're not going to let you off the hook. We know where you live, right? And so if you don't turn up, we're going to be knocking on your door, okay?
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't counted.
Yep, no. Caitlin's doing a very good job there. She's got the members registry there and actually understand who is and who isn't.
Can I just clarify that?
Awesome, thank you.
Sorry. Excuse me, interpreters. Just a quick clarification. The difference between a full member within the new, soon-to-be possibly constitution is that a full member is a peer residing in the Hunter. An associate member can be a person with a disability outside of the Hunter. It still means that you're part of CEDAH. It just means that you can't vote. That is all.
Yep.
So can I just say one thing as well? So there's one person who's a family member who also qualifies at the moment as a full member.
Yeah, that's good.
Just for the microphone, one person in the room is a family member of a person with a disability in the Hunter. So they are at this stage still a full member and are eligible to vote until the constitution is changed.
So just to give people a sense of where we're up to, because we still have one more bit of business to do. We've done the welcome, we've done the apologies, we've done the acknowledgement of country. We clarified that we had a quorum and we had a silent roll call, right? We went through the catch-up and questions and we found that we only had one question. Because we've now passed motion 1, the next steps with that, one moment, Andrew.
Have we passed the motion?
Yes, we have. We've actually had...
But we haven't actually passed the motion. Not really.
No, when it was voted on, that was actually a signal that it actually was passed. We actually counted the numbers and had 14.
I just wanted to know that clearly reporting that we hadn't passed the motion.
So I threw 14 in there because I just knew that Mademoiselle would correct me, okay, which is really good. Because we've now passed the motion, this document will now be sent off to Department of Fair Trading. They will actually go through it with a fine-tooth comb. They will come back and they will tell us that this is our new governing document. And it will also be sent to the ACNC, and I'm happy to show you where this sits on the ACNC.
What does that stand for?
God, you're good. Like, I remember when I started this advocacy stuff, we used to jump all over the professionals when they used acronyms, right? And so I fell into the trap, right? ACNC stands for Australian Commission on Not-for-Profit Charities. And we not only need to report to Department of Fair Trading, but also to the ACNC. So when that comes back, this will be the document that when we want to do stuff, it'll actually tell us what we do. Like there's 47 sections, and I'm happy to bore you to death with definitions of what the 47 sections are, right?
No.
You don't want me to do that, Andrew?
No.
Right? Right? Now, the reason for motion 2, because in the old constitution, right, you could only have a person serve 3 two-year terms. Christy, who is our current chairperson, this is her 3rd term, and I think a 2nd term as chairperson, and it would have meant that in a time when we're actually going through a lot of change and a lot of new stuff that's actually happening at CEDAH, we would have lost part of the brains trust that the committee decided was really important that we actually have Christy on board. Now, unfortunately, Christy's from a fairly large Macedonian family, and apparently one of the things when you live in a Macedonian family is that you actually have big gatherings, and out of that, Christy's got COVID, right? And unable to be here today. Anybody here had COVID? We could shop COVID stories and COVID vaccinations, right? So the second motion is...
I have COVID, I don't know. I've been sick today, so I don't know.
The second motion is that we accept the recommendation from the CEDAH board to extend Christy, the chairperson's tenure on the board. Right? Yes?
Can I ask, Tammy, is Christy up for that? Is she keen to?
We've gone through, we moved this motion around about 10 months ago.
Okay.
And Christy has actually had, she took a holiday, had a little bit of an overseas sojourn, and we give her the option not to come back, you know. And she's actually, she has confirmed, and she has regular meetings with Andrew, because that's part of the chairperson's role, where she's willing to extend her tenure. Now, what will happen when this document comes back in about 2 months, that was one of the changes that we actually made, so we didn't have to go through that process again. So if we were currently working on this document today, we wouldn't need this second motion, right? So does anybody have any questions about the reasons for the second motion?
Just to explain more about the second motion.
Explain more?
About the second motion.
What would you,
Understand it more.
Okay. In the old, now let me get my head. I've just got to find where that bit of information is in my BOGO valve, so I can actually link into it. In the old constitution, and I'm happy to open it up on the screen and go to the particular clause and show you where it says that a person can only serve 3 consecutive terms on the board unless the board actually moves the motion that they stay on the board for longer. When you nominate to become on the board, and there'll be an AGM here later this afternoon where a number of people have actually volunteered, because it is voluntary, volunteered to be on the board. And that is usually for a 2-year period. But Christy has actually been there for the maximum number of terms under the old constitution.
Don't even know what that means. What's on the... I'm not sure I understand what the board means.
The board is a group of people.
No, that's an interesting question, Stephen. In this current document, there's a section on definitions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the liberty of actually opening the page under definitions, and I'll read out what it says in the Constitution, because this is what's called the governing document for how CEDA operates, right? And under definitions, which is section 2, I told you I wasn't going to bore you with sections, right? And this has been light reading for me over the last 6 months, right? And so this is actually under section 2, right? Board members means an office bearer or ordinary board member that has oversight on the organisation. So every month, if you become a board member, and Erin's our vice president.
At the moment.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's all right. No, it's not at the moment, because the process we've actually gone through, you're the only one that's nominated for vice president. So you don't actually have any competition, right?
No. You can relax.
So every month, on the third Tuesday of the month at 4:30, the board members come together to have a meeting, and we meet with Andrew, who's the executive officer, and they give us some information. Stephen is our treasurer, and when you come to the AGM later today, Stephen will give you some information that will help you understand the finances that he looks after as treasurer. So if you think about Australia, like we have, you know how many politicians we have in Australia, like at the moment?
Too many.
That's right. Well, with the board, with this, we have a maximum of 9 people on our board, right? And and currently we'll have, I think we'll have 6 people that have actually put their hand up to be involved in that next year. and we'll have a couple of what they call casual vacancies. But when you start reading these documents, you may find some words in there, and it's good that you're actually asking questions, because that's the way you learn, right? If you need more explanation, I'm going to hand it over to Andrew, right? Would you like some more explanation?
Maybe later on.
Yeah, more than happy to do that.
How long will Christie's tenure be extended for?
Good question, Jared. If this gets passed, Christie will be in for a maximum of another 2 years. So anybody that gets elected to the board tonight or this afternoon will be there for 2 years. What we do is half the members, we try and have half the members stand down every year. Like this year, Anya is halfway through her 2-year term. And so if Christie comes, if you pass this motion, Christie will be here till the end, till we have the AGM in 2025. And because we've accepted that new constitution, she will be able to think about whether she wants to go around for another 2 years. So does that answer your question, Jared? Do we have any other questions before we come back to whether or not?
What is the job? What is the board member's job?
You told me you didn't actually want me to ramble on about sections, but the board in the Constitution actually, it's part 3, and it has section 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22.
Can I give a short answer then, Douglas?
Yes, I'm more than happy to hand the thing out, but I'm just highlighting where in the current document you can actually find that, and I'm more than happy to actually read out what they do. But Andrew may save you from being...
Save us all.
Thanks, Douglas. Andrew speaking. Stephen, what the board does is CEDA is a member-led organisation. So all of the people who are members of CEDA, you're a member of CEDA, are what makes CEDA great. So we have member representatives who are elected to run the place. So I'm a paid employee, so I work for CEDA, as some other people here do, but the board are the people who are responsible for making sure that I do my job properly. So, and they're really mean. They pick on me all the time, Steve. No, the board are really good, but it is volunteers who are members of the organisation who make sure that the people that are paid to do the job of managing the CEDA, so that the rent gets paid, all the projects and programs that we run happen well, and that we're all safe and everything is looked after, and that we pay our bills on time and all those things. Yes. Yeah, the board... We pay bills. Well, that's the thing. Organisations like CEDA have bills and we have responsibilities. So the board are responsible for making sure that we're going in the right direction and that the things that we're doing are the things the members want, and the board also makes sure that people like me are doing my job properly. Does that make sense?
Well, that's a big job. I wouldn't like to take it on.
No.
He's good at it though.
Yeah, so the board the board do a great, an example of that, Stephen, is this constitutional change. Douglas is a board member and a volunteer, and other board members have worked for months and months and months without getting paid to try and change the constitution to what we're now changed. And so that's a responsibility that the board take in deciding the direction that we'll take as an organisation. So anybody that's willing to put their hand up for an extra 2 years, I think that's it's a very generous offer for somebody who's already committed 6 years.
I'd like to put my hands up for this. Volunteer for 2 years. A lot of things can happen in 2 years.
That's very true, Stephen. They can.
There'll be a world war before
True.
2 years is up.
So does that explanation help?
Well, I don't think I'd like to be lumbered with all those responsibilities.
Okay, that's pretty fair enough.
It's too complicated for me.
Yeah, so
I'd be able to handle it.
Yeah, so having good people that are willing to do it is really important, and that's how an organisation does well. So thanks, Stephen. It's a great question.
I've just got to admit that I actually made a mistake. And I don't usually make mistakes, and I really hate hate apologising. But I actually missed out on the fact that there are not only sections 14 to 22 that actually describe what the board does, but you also have 23, which tells you how board meetings are run. Section 24, notice of board meetings. Section 25 is a quorum, about how many members you actually need to have the meeting. 26, what happens if the chairperson doesn't turn up. 27, how you vote. 28, acts are valid despite vacancies or defects. And section 29, transaction of business outside meetings or by telephone or other means. So it's there, and it's fairly plain English. I'm happy to go through it, but what I'd like to do is actually come back and ask, are there any other questions before I actually asked who'd like to put the hand up to move this motion before we vote on it, and for a second. And Erin, I know you put your hand up earlier.
So we're there at the same time.
Right. So who'd like to actually move it and then go second, and then that'll open it up to the floor where I'll go through and I'll actually ask, is there anybody that are objecting to it? So for the record, who'd like to be on the record as... So Enya has moved it. Erin has seconded, and the motion that I'm going to actually ask for either a no or a yes is to accept the recommendation from CEDA's board to extend Christie's tenure on the board. Is there anybody that would like to either vote no or ask any further questions or amendments? I'll just ask the question again. Is there anyone in the room that doesn't want to pass this motion? I'll take that as it's a unanimous yes. I'd just like to... Have you recorded that, Caitlin?
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming along today. We've just spent 55 minutes. I didn't think we'd get through it in 55 minutes. So it means that we've actually got 65 minutes before the AGM starts.
Have we voted?
I'm just about to close it.
Have we voted?
Yes, we voted, yes, there was a unanimous, well, we didn't need, because nobody said no, I took it as a unanimous, vote.
As a process, we voted on the first one. I think we probably should vote. I think we should have
hands up.
All right, I'm happy to be overruled. I won't spit the dummy and go home.
Mr Chair, I think in the interest of the process being to observe to be done, put it to the vote.
Yeah.
I have put it to the vote, Stephen, and because it's being because it was recorded.
Sorry.
Because it was recorded and nobody was against the vote, I assumed, and what I've discovered with assumptions, that you'll end up being like an ass. And I got overruled, and we've just had everybody's put their hand up in the room. Caitlin, how many was there?
Oh, is everyone on the Zoom also put their hand up? Just asking. I think I saw a hand from Sam. Yeah. Stephen, yes. Lee, is that you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Unanimous. Thank you.
Because there's no other business on the agenda for this special general meeting, thank you very much for everybody attending, and I'll see you at the AGM.